I've been waiting for, possibly not what you were waiting for, but the one I was really looking forward to getting my teeth into. I was just waiting for the right time to start it, and it is with the Minstermen, York City, in the Sky Bet League 2. It's going to be fairly classic, this series. League 2 to the Premier League, whereas the title suggests from Minstermen to Champions League men. I think it should be good. It could be good. It's going to go alongside. I think the Southampton one is very popular because it's become like a real journey. It started at Villa, of course, then Everton, then Southampton. It's become a real journey. AC Milan, it seems to be quite popular as well. It's just I haven't quite gotten into that one recently, as I've kind of been waiting for the right time to start this series, and I think this is now the right time where we can have 3 rolling series, possibly with the AC Milan one taking a third seat in the kind of pecking order, and this and Southampton kind of rotating a little bit more. But it's all based really on how this one goes down. I really hope you guys can get into it, because I've realised that, and despite I do them a lot, kind of offline, I haven't actually done like a real a Journey to the Top in England series on my channel yet. Like the closest I got to that, I suppose, was the Wexford Youths project last year. But Football Manager 2014, I wouldn't lie, like my videos weren't very good. And the Wexford Youth project was a little bit more obscure because you guys really didn't know who these guys were. As for with York, I'm sure a fair few of you have heard of them. You know, not that you'd know anything about them, but have heard of them. And therefore you can get a little bit more into the series. Now York, I've just got a personal affinity with York. I am Irish, but I do have family in York, and therefore I go there a fair few times every year, and I go to a fair few matches every year. So, like, I wouldn't call myself a die-hard York fan. Like, I don't go every day, every week with a season ticket or something, but I go to as many games as I possibly can go to. And I'd say probably one of the biggest fans of York in Ireland, that's for sure. I did travel to Wembley twice. What was it, two and a half years ago, I think, in 2012, for the FA Trophy final and the Blue Square Bet final against Luton, both of which they won, which were great days out. Especially the Luton one, because Luton were the bigger team, but we managed to pick up the victory, and therefore I want to. Like, since that promotion, they've their first season they kind of scrapped just above the relegation. Unfortunately, Gary Mills got sacked. Worthington, no, it wasn't Worthington. But anyway, Mills got sacked, but they managed to stay up. And then last year, with Nigel Worthington in charge, they managed to go on after Christmas this kind of bizarre run of games unbeaten, playing pretty piss poor football if you ask me. Like, when I went over there, they were playing absolutely shit football, but getting results, and they managed to get into the playoffs. Now, they lost to Fleetwood, who eventually went up, but then this year Worthington just the kind of superpowers he seemed to bring last year didn't seem to rub off. He resigned himself, although I think he was pretty close to being sacked. And it's Russ Wilcox in charge at the moment, former Scunthorpe guy, but they're hovering precariously above the bottom two. They're in, I think, 22nd at the moment of the 24, without playing actually too badly, but just not picking up the results that they justify. But that's where I want to come in and make the difference, and get them promoted a few more times. They've got a bit of history at the club, like they've been up in League 1, late 90s. Like, they're not exactly a team steepled with history, but have a look. Honours. They've won the Sky Bet League 2 once. FA Trophy once, of course, and runner-up in the FA Trophy once. A few third places. Third place in Sky Bet League 1 in 1974. And that's a decent enough effort. But, the success hasn't been really York's middle name, despite being a fairly big team club in League 2. Like, it's a big town, York. And it's got passionate supporters. It's a pretty old-fashioned stadium, Bootham Crescent. Like, it says on Football Manager that it fits 9,196. Now, I don't think that's true. I thought it held 6,500 or something. But anyway, it's actually a quite nice stadium, but it is old-fashioned. I think they're planning to move into the York Community Stadium in around a year and a half's time. And they're still in the process of building that. But I'm kind of telling you all these facts about York to try and get you a little more involved, and I suppose know a little bit more about the club before I embark on this adventure. In terms of players, the squad is fairly thin, and I'll have to look to probably bring in a few guys despite a very low budget to work with. In terms of good players, Bobby Oljanek, he's on loan from Peterborough for the season, I think, and he's an excellent keeper for League 2 standards, and I think it's shown by his kind of coach report. Good player for most Sky Bet League 1 sides. They've kind of been trading keepers around, and they finally found this guy. Like, they had Alex Cisak, I think. That's probably not how you pronounce it, but the guy on loan from Burnley, he was there for a few games. Ingham's played a few games, but they finally kind of settled on Bobby, and he's an excellent keeper. Lukey Summerfield, he's a good central midfielder. He's been around, he's been at higher levels. He was at Shrewsbury for 2 seasons in Sky Bet League 1, also at Plymouth. He's a good midfielder, but on the game he's out for 7 weeks and 3 months, which is going to be disappointing because I'd like to use him because he's probably he's the best central midfielder at the club and a decent enough ball player at that. Wes Fletcher seems to be quite overrated because Wes Fletcher has had a pretty poor season, if you ask me. Also injured at the moment, but he should be back for the start of the season. Good striker though, could kind of fall into that poacher role. Jake Hyde, he was at Barnet. Did quite well at Barnet, having had spells at Swindon, Dundee in Scotland. Again, hasn't been very good though in real life, although he doesn't seem to be too bad on the game. And then Keith Lowe, he's also, these are a few nomadic players really. Keith Lowe has been around the block in terms of lower leagues. Russ Penn, the same. Both Penn and Lowe both came from Cheltenham. And Cheltenham, up until the last 2 seasons, something were quite big in League 2. Well, not big, but they were doing quite well in League 2, and it's all kind of gone to pot in the last 2 seasons. They've had a few managerial issues, I think, as well. The one guy, though, at York, which kind of goes a little bit under the radar because of his injury, is Josh Carson, who's currently sitting in the under-21s. Now, Josh Carson is a superb player, 21 years old, left winger. But he's out for 5 to 7 months with damaged cruciate ligaments. And now that is the case, but I felt like I'm on the winter update. And I'm a little bit annoyed because Josh Carson is actually back to full fitness. He picked up an injury, I think, against Portsmouth in March last year, and at the time he was out for 9 to 10 months. But he's actually back in real life, but the game hasn't really registered that, so he's still out for 5 to 7 months. So he won't kind of get hold of him until probably February or something. And who knows, he might have decreased as a player since then, but he's got 4 caps for Northern Ireland. He's a superb player, and I can't wait to use him even after his injury. Anyway, I suppose this episode was designed just to give you guys a little more of an insight into York City and why I picked them, because of this slight, and I do mean slight, but slight kind of happiness with them and love for the club. And I hope you guys feel the same way, and hopefully we can attack League 2 by storm this year. I don't think we will. I think for the first season it's going to be very tricky, and I think the sole objective will be to stay up, because I think we are predicted to come 20th. Yeah, 20th. Cheltenham and Newport meant to go down. See, Russ Wilcox, he's the current manager of the year, but he was at York. He's at York in real life, but of course I've taken him out of a job because I've joined. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. I'll see you guys later.